the kingdom. The royal engagement is on.
No one's used the R word, retirement, when it comes to Kelce, but everybody understands the significance that this might be it. Guys, he's only talking in a 1-year term, and he's done it consistently. I've been trying to prepare our Only Weird Games audience for the day that he might not run a route in a Kansas City Chiefs uniform. And so all we have is the 2025 season, and Travis has been motivated and operating as such. Kelce has not said at any point that he's coming back for 2026. He is only focused on this season. He rededicated himself in some ways towards his fitness, towards his craft, as he likes to say a lot, when it comes to being explosive, being a team leader. You obviously staying in connection with Patrick and Andy Reid. It's a guy who was very close to retiring, or as close to retiring as he had ever been before. A week later saying, okay, I need to tell Andy that I'm coming back. And if I'm going to do this, I got to do this the right and the best way possible. And so there's a lot of examples in the story that you can go read. It just so happened that the moment this story was on the center part of ESPN.com's home page on the website, on the app, just so happened that when everyone saw Travis Kelce, if they just typed in ESPN.com, that all hell broke loose.
It is just buck wild that the unquestioned biggest news in the world is that the tight end of the Kansas City Chiefs got engaged. Try to telepathically send that back a decade in time. I mean, 3 years really, but like send that back to your younger self and think about the news that's like, oh man, it's like, did he marry the president or something? And it actually, no, it's actually someone more famous and powerful, it appears.
I want to give a big congratulations and an absolute salute and shout out to this person, right? I don't really know this person well, but I definitely wanted to retweet them. It's Chase Snyder. Shout out to Chase, who impeccably tweeted today, that was so nice of Taylor Swift to announce her engagement after Andy Reid's press conference today. A true teammate in tweet. And you know what? Yes. All of this is coordinated and organized. You have to understand, kids, that maybe, just maybe, I knew that we were in like that little 2-year window where people didn't know, or it was speculated and it hadn't become public yet and the regular season hadn't started, but they were definitely on dates. They were definitely talking. They were definitely doing things. I just happened to know that we're kind of in that 2-year anniversary moment. And so this does not surprise me. In fact, Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift's engagement was expected. We did not know which day, but it is today, of all days, on a Tuesday before the season starts, on a Tuesday when we have to tell guys that they didn't make the team. Yeah, man. It's both surprising and not surprising if you look at it, if you read between the lines, if you talk to certain people that I got to talk to. And so, yeah, very fortunate timing. Again, it would highly encourage people to read. I think Taylor Swift is mentioned one time in the story. Is that right, Josh?
That seems right. I mean, I read
based
it
on the revisions.
I read it after a revision was clearly made. Yeah,
right.
For you guys, yeah.
Yeah. We've had some things planned in the event that this would happen, and so whenever we do get Travis, or whenever he does speak, because he's more likely to speak before Taylor on this engagement, they've been dating for 2 years, guys. So in a lot of ways, they're just like us. They've reached a certain status. They have their great careers. They're aligned. They're obviously in love, even though Andy Reid can't say the word love. And Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift in the same sentence, he will not do it. Coach, I need one quote of love. Say love. Say the 4-letter word. He won't do it. Anyway, very particular that this came out today, more than a week from the season starting. And I want people to understand that. Travis Kelce understands what is in front of him, and he wants a grand finish. And so they made their decision, which is great for them. But a lot of this work that he's done to not miss a single practice in OTAs, to not miss anything in mandatory minicamps, to not miss a single training camp practice, and to obviously look very good, look pretty spry Friday against the Chicago Bears. All of this is planned for him to be a much better version of himself in Sao Paulo and for the course of the rest of the season.
Seth, I won't make you talk anymore about love because I know how much you hate that. And they're entering the confines of a loving marriage, by the way, which I feel like you should be overjoyed
always
about.
In favor of it. Always in favor of it.
I will say again, the scope of it is just so baffling to me in a way that I am absolutely elated by. Renee, my wife, didn't really care particularly strongly about the Chiefs before we got together and didn't really care about Taylor Swift until Taylor Swift got into this ecosystem. I know it's an untraditional path for her. But when I saw the news, I just went out. She was downstairs and I just went to the top of the stairs and I just announced it like a medieval herald. The fact that was happening, I mean, it was like 10 million likes in an hour on the Instagram post. I know that the underline of this is like Taylor Swift's very famous, but they're both very famous. And I've loved this football team since I was a baby. And the tight end of this football team is now I think internationally speaking, the most famous American football player in the world and is now engaged to the pop star. It's just, all of that is like truly, truly wild. And Seth, I'll set you up for. Also, I was going to say that it's another example that the true final test of love should be co-hosting a podcast with someone. If you can make it through a 2-hour-long podcast, you're probably good. Three of us have been podcasting for closing in on a decade now, so it's right. I need one of you guys to give me some jewelry. Honestly, I feel like I've more than earned it. But fair, Seth. We did see in Friday against the Chicago Bears on that turf at Arrowhead on the grass. Saw a little shimmy. We saw the little pivot spin and get away, and he got away. He wasn't always taking a helmet to the back of his lower back, which felt like it happened a lot last year. I know we've talked about Travis Kelce quite a bit this offseason. I know enough to know that we're all kind of optimistic about the upside of asking him to do just a little bit less, to bring down the wear and tear. In a world where Noah Gray and Robert Tonyan and maybe Jared Wiley really matter for what the most famous athlete in the sport can do. I know I'm optimistic. I know you said some horrible, horrible things about Travis Kelce at the beginning of the show, but what do you think about him in 2025?
First of all, shout out to Mike Dana for because they didn't.
He saved us today. Lord, he saved us. Thank you, Mike Dana.
The funniest
he gave us some quotes, baby.
All day. The funniest tweet I saw all day came from Sam McDowell with the KC Star. Where he said, because Mike Dana was the last, I think, presser, and so the news had come out and everyone knew. He walked out and he goes, and Sam tweeted about this. Mike Dana walks out and says, "I don't know nothing, man." And that must have brought the house down. It did. And then of course everyone proceeds to ask him. It's like, dude, I play on defense. He plays on offense. I haven't been where's Pat? Someone bring out Pat. So shout out to Mike Dana for handling stuff well.
Yes.
Congratulations to the Lovebirds. Sometimes when you know, I'll never forget texting a couple of buddies of mine that lived in another town after my first date with Jazz. And saying, guys, I'm not going to be coming back to town much anymore because if she'll have me, that's the girl I'm going to marry. Sometimes when you know. So my question to Taylor and Travis, what took so long? But whatever, that's fine. Better late than never.
We have albums to make, Seth.
That's true.
We have work. We have training to do.
He was much busier than me, working part time at a Pomida, making $6 an hour.
Travis Kelce's trying to stay in shape.
Oh,
yes.
Okay. Yes. See, these are very different.
Trying to get in better shape. One could argue. Yes.
So is Seth. I couldn't use that. I know Seth's out here pumping those legs.
That's right.
So, in terms of how Kelce looked, because this is our first real extended look, he's looked more explosive at training camp. He looks more like 2023 and 2022 Kelce than 2024 Kelce. And that doesn't mean, I still think he's still like, after he gets tackled, when he's standing up, he still looks like a dude in his mid-30s that just got tackled. Because it's like, oh, Lord. Like, and that's not going to change. But he looks more spry. That shimmy you talked about, I don't think we saw that little shimmy. One of the funny things, I don't remember who, it might have been Arif Hassan, who had tweeted out once that, like, watching Kelce for like the last almost decade after the catch, it's like this weirdly graceful moose running.
Yes.
He doesn't look fast. Even honestly, his first couple of years in the league where he was out running corners and safeties, he didn't look that fast because he's a big dude. I mean, I think he's listed at like 6'5". I think he might be a little taller than that. I mean, he's a tall guy.
He's like, I think if I had to guess legitimately, not whatever was put in the media guide, he's probably 6'6". I mean, he legitimately looks like an NBA player if you didn't know he played football.
Yes, and that really, he's always been a little more wiry. He's not like this thick built guy, but he'll do these fakes, and you're like, how are these world class corners just eating dirt? Because it looks slow. But it's kind of like, speaking of Godzilla, or like the sandworms in Dune, they look like they're moving slow, but that's just because they're huge. And so maybe that's what he's got going for him. But that little shimmy in the open field to make a defender miss. How many defenders did Travis Kelce make miss last year? And I'm not blaming him for this. The man was shot. He was tired.
Not that many. I
think like in the playoffs against Houston, it happened, and we were like, whoa.
Right. Right. So, that's why it popped off the screen so much. It was like, oh man, I remember that happening. And it was like, yeah, he used to do that all the time. Now, one of my favorite parts of last year, Seth, is, to your point, because he was okay. Hold on. I'm gonna get up. Just you wait. I'm gonna get up. Give me a minute. Yeah. All right. What's the down and distance? The reason why he was doing that, and what made last year so fun, is he actually became an above average player at lateraling the football, which I cannot tell you kids how hard that is to do. He got efficient at lateraling the football because it was one less hit I got to take, y'all. One less hit, and we keep the ball moving forward.
That, I had not even thought about that as a reason that he's just like out here playing 3D chess, like, this 25-year-old, 210-pound safety is going to launch himself into my knees in a second.
Yep.
And I don't want that. And so, hey, there's P. Ryan. P. Ryan. Yeah. Hey, buddy.
Here's an extra 10 yards.
Yeah. Get an extra 10 yards. So he looks explosive. It was cool. Nate, your article did such a great job laying out that he really did have a very different, and by different, I mean the same as previous year's offseason regimen.
Correct.
I don't think people realize how hard these guys do have to work in the offseason to not be playing yourself into shape during the season.
Correct.
And just the burden that was placed on Kelce last year was more than I think was reasonable. It's more than what was put on him
2 years ago. Yeah.
Like in 2022, there was more help. In 2023, there was more help in the form of the defense. And the 2024 defense was solid. It just wasn't elite like 2023. So there was just so much placed on him. And every time you just get a year older. He looks spry. He's got that shimmy back. My hope is that they can control his usage in a way that makes sense. And by throwing the ball down the field more, getting, of course, Rice being back. Had Rice been healthy last year, I don't know how much of any of this we'd have been talking about, because that man was about to get targeted so many times that like Justin Jefferson would be like, that's a little excessive, isn't it? I mean, like it was about to be just, it's like what is about to happen probably like to DK Metcalf in Pittsburgh this year, where it's like, well, I guess we'll throw to that giant guy. Like,
yep,
that's what was going to happen to Rice.
Also, Aaron Rodgers, I don't want to get hit.
Yeah, Aaron's like, boom, balls out. So I think we could see. I've been holding out hope that we could see Kelce be legitimately excellent again, and he was excellent last year. He just wasn't quite him, right? And there's a difference, and we talked about that a lot this offseason. The difference between that's how great he's been, is that he was a notch above elite.
Yes.
I'm starting to think, man, what if he had one more year like that in him? Like, what if he's always been the exception to every rule?
That's literally what he's been thinking much of these past 6 months, Seth, is what if I can, okay, if I feel better, if I train with better intention, if I have a better recovery process, if I'm not traveling the world in support of my now fiance, and even her schedule's gotten a little more, normalized because she's gone back to her, traditional work schedule, then yeah, there's got to be something left in there. So I think you're right on it, Seth, where it's just like, if we're talking about it this way, for sure he's thought the same thing. He's not verbalized it a ton, because I think he does want to be a leader and keep it very team focused.
Yep.
But at the same time, he has to be envisioning what he did in the Super Bowl. And this is I'm glad you mentioned this, Josh. This is one of the things that did not make the story, but like, I think people, because things happen so fast and time moves in such an interesting way now in our society, guys, he was bleeping incredible in Super Bowl 58. Incredible. And he was god-awful in Super Bowl 59.
And that's gotta hurt.
Correct. Yes. People were wondering if he was washed because he did not look like a version of himself at all. He missed so many assignments. He was so bad in terms of like what the game plan was. I know Patrick wasn't accurate with a lot of his passes, but he would tell you himself, I should have made 2 catches in the first half to keep drives extended, and instead we kept punting the ball away, and all of a sudden a 10-point deficit became a 17-point deficit, and now the game plan's immediately shot.
Yep.
He did not have a catch in the first half of the Super Bowl. So one of the things we couldn't really save or keep in the story was just how great he was the Super Bowl before, in comparison and in quite the contrast to how bad he was in last year's Super Bowl.